All right, now we are going to the trap. We are starting with our trap bar deadlift. Positioning of the feet is going to be feet about shoulder width apart, because now we don't have that kettlebell in the middle that requires us to be a little bit wider, so we can go into a more narrow stance. When we are positioning our hands on the trap bar, we want to have our hands in the middle of the handle. Sometimes you'll have ninjas that'll put their hands too far forward or too far back, but the goal here is to make sure that we have it in the middle, so that way we can keep that bar horizontal. We don't get that forward or backward tilt, which can still happen with the hands being in the middle of the handle, but this will just optimize the positioning of our trap bar as a whole. Now, same thing with our trap bar deadlift. We want to make sure that we're keeping our shoulder blades pulled together. Now, when we're moving on to like the trap bar, the barbell, we also want to think about taking the slack out the bar. So you have your bar, and keep your mind in a clean place, you have the hole to the plate. We want to take the slack out the bar by bringing the barbell, this piece, up into the plate. So we're kind of pulling the slack out of the trap bar by either engaging our shoulder blades together or our traps, so by pulling up on that bar, or you can think about pushing away from the floor when going and taking that slack out. Most of the time you'll hear like a little click. That's how you know you have the slack taken out of the bar. That's important because as we start to load up on the weight of the bar, we don't want that bar pulling us back, especially when we start getting into sumo deadlifts and conventional deadlifts. So we can, if we start practicing taking the slack out now while we're in that trap bar position, that would be optimal. And then again, feet are going to kind of be in line with your handles. So you're not going to be here in front of the trap bar. You're not going to be too far back, but you'll be in line with that trap bar, and then pulling those shoulder blades together, taking that slack out the bar, standing up nice and tall like a pencil, so no leaning back, ribs are locked down, squeezing that peach nice and tight at the top, and then going for that hinging pattern on your way down. And we're trying to make sure we don't keep or have any forward or backwards tilt with doing that trap bar deadlift. The only other thing that I want to mention with doing the trap bar deadlift is the lightest weight that we can load up the trap bar is 65 pounds, which is the 10 and the 10-pound plate. If it is too challenging for someone to pick up that weight, we could always put boxes underneath the trap bar to elevate the trap bar, and putting that trap bar at 45 pounds to start working that pattern. And then the other thing is, if it is someone who is a little bit shorter, or you want to find a way to make this exercise a little bit more challenging, you can rotate, you could rotate the trap bar and have that ninja work these handles, which will allow them to get a little bit lower into that position and getting into the trap bar deadlift. So you'll notice I have to get down a little bit more in order to grab those handles, versus me being here, I don't have to get down as low. And you'll make those modifications if you're trying to create a variation where it's a little bit more challenging, or if you have someone who has shorter legs, that even when they're going for the trap bar deadlift here, they just look like they're too high up and they're not actually getting low enough to be able to pull that weight off the ground.